Good morning, everybody. This is Greg Trainer with Wyndham-Lyons Realty Services, and this is your November the 5th, 2021 update for the real estate in Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. I am joined again by our co-hosts, Tom McNamara with Caliber Home Loans and Sarah Sutters with our Wyndham-Lyons Northern Kentucky branch. How's everybody doing today?
Doing great.
Hi, doing well.
Good. We are moving into the holiday season right now. Are you guys getting ready for all of the shopping and Thanksgiving-ing?
Getting ready, thinking about it.
Yeah.
I
Same with Tommy, just thinking about it.
so I was in the store on October 31st, and they were tearing down at that same morning on Halloween morning. They were tearing down all of the Halloween stuff and putting up Christmas stuff. So it goes quick. So let's jump in. Let's jump into our updates now. One of our breaking news items right now is the iBuyers out there. And if you're not current or familiar with what an iBuyer is in real estate, those are large companies who have decided to purchase. They become clearinghouses. They'll buy homes directly from sellers and put those back on the market and hopefully make a profit from those. But one of the biggest splashes into the iBuyer system in the last year was Zillow. And unfortunately for Zillow, and just as a disclosure, they are real estate agents and brokerages as well. Now they are, but they decided to get into that market where they were going to start purchasing homes, and across the United States, they tested the waters in some hotter markets and then rolled it out just about everywhere across the United States in 2020. And they were approaching sellers and soliciting sellers directly to purchase those properties without the assistance of a real estate agent inside of those platforms. And Sarah can attest to this. Their average fees were about 17%. They were not in this to pay top dollar for homes intentionally. They were in it to pay less than fair market, charge fees for profit, and resell those for profit to consumers later. Their value proposition was, and their commercials that you saw on TV all the time, is that it just makes life so much easier and smoother for the sellers during that listing process. However, as you can see on this, they have decided to drop their iBuyer platform. They lost almost $500 million since they rolled that program out. They've since laid off 25% of their staff, which is unfortunate. We never like to see people lose their jobs, and they have discontinued that iBuyer platform. And for us, you and I, Sarah, we and the rest of the real estate agents in the industry know that this was something, because they were relying heavily on their Zestimate to purchase those properties. The Zestimates, and there's actually a website out there that tracks and monitors how accurate Zillow's Zestimate is, and they have a 35% chance. Last time I checked on it, they have a 35% chance of being within 35% of what the property value was. So this really came back to bite Zillow in their own pocketbook. So if you're a seller out there, Sarah, what do you, when you have a seller say, hey, Sarah, why should I use you as a real estate agent when I've got this other company that's going to buy my house for X amount of dollars?
I would talk to them and I would, explain to them with prices how they are right now. People have so much equity in their homes. You're going to trust one algorithm to help with that total equity that you have in your home. I mean, you could do so many different things, but I would tell them, don't trust one algorithm. That other company, especially if they have the iBuyers, they're not going to come in your house. They're not going to see the condition of it. Their information just isn't as up to date as somebody locally in that market, that buys, sells, and does business there full time.
Right. And so I can attest to, I pay attention to track some of those online algorithms, and Zillow's one of the biggest that's out there, that everybody, when we have a seller come to us and say, hey, Zillow says my property's worth this, and we have to show them numbers that most of the time come in maybe a little bit higher. A lot of times it comes in lower. It's never dead on. My house in particular, I have a little code set up so it shows me what they value it at. 1 month it popped up, and I can tell you I do not live in a $3 million house. But I live on a property that has a little over 15 acres. There was a commercial property about 2 miles away that had 15 acres and sold for $4 million. It pulled my house into that and said that my house was worth $3 million. So my property value didn't jump up that much in just 1 month. So you can see how delicate those algorithms are to outside inaccurate influences. And as you can see on this screen, Zillow is paying the price for that right now. And I echo what you say, Sarah. They'll love the point that they don't go into your house. These iBuyers don't. They don't look at the current mark or the current condition of the house, things that need to be done to maximize that profit. We're your local real estate agents, so we know the comps in the area. We know your neighborhoods, and we know how to maximize your profit as a seller. So unfortunate for them, they're not going to be the last iBuyers. They're not the only ones in that market space, but when you're a seller out there, just make sure you understand that these folks weren't buying and selling with the intention of losing money. They were discounting prices, hoping to get more money from you than the typical real estate agents. More than twice, 17%. That's almost 3 times what we charge as real estate agents for those conveniences. And when you're talking about the average sales price of a home in greater Cincinnati and northern Kentucky, somewhere in the 250 to 260 range, an additional 10 to 11% is not convenient whatsoever.
Right.
So move, and Tom, you had mentioned earlier too, stay in your lane. Zillow started out and continues to be a great tech platform to search properties. They mined data and they sold it back. They sold us our own data. We were suckers to do that as real estate agents. We gave them our data for free, and they sell it and repackage it and give it back to us. They did very well. They became a publicly traded company. So, what's your lesson in stay in your lane, Tom?
Just stay in your lane.
Yeah. They did well at that. And you see it where you have a company that they decide that they're not making enough profit, and they get a little bit greedy, and they want to be, a real estate firm wants to become a mortgage company, and then they want to become a title company, and then they want to be an insurance firm.
Yeah, like earlier you said you had the word for profit 4 times in the same sentence when it referenced Zillow. And when you reference for profit 4 times, that raises a red flag for me.
Right.
Well, and it really shows you where their interest is. It's not necessarily with the seller of the house. Again, it's for profit.
Right. And we all strive in our industry because we are notoriously behind in the times. We want to make the system. We're always looking for ways to use technology and innovation to make our clients' experience of buying and selling a home faster, better, cheaper, and less frustrating and less segmented. So when you have that as a goal, then that's always a good thing, and it always benefits the buyer. And hopefully as a company, if you take that stance, you're going to be in a position where you're getting more business because you're helping more clients have a higher rate of satisfaction. In this case, disrupting a market just for the sake of saying that you're a cool market disruptor and not providing value is something that I think all consumers should stay away from. Moving on, just in the market in general, Sarah, what are you seeing as far as the buyer activity out there right now?
Buyer activity, I think it's still coming a little bit in waves. I think that it's a good time, and I have picked up, a few more buyers recently, and I think that they're starting to come back into the market a little bit because they are seeing a little bit of a slowdown, and houses are sticking on the market for a little bit longer.
Yep. So that frustration probably seeing is wearing off, and the
Mhm.
folks that maybe gave up a little bit earlier in the year starting to get a
Yeah.
little bit more active.
Oh, yeah.
Like we mentioned in last week's video, that we sometimes feel like we're slowing down when we're just getting back to a normal pace. When you've been doing 150 miles an hour and then slow down to 70, you're not really slowing down. You're just going at the regular pace. So
Mhm.
it's we're going through an adjustment right now, but I think for both buyers and sellers, this is a more comfortable pace for everybody. Currently, nationwide, homes are on the market for just a little over 17 days. Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, I think we're a little bit short of that still. So it's still a seller's market. Sellers are receiving an average of about 3.7 offers on each one of the homes. So as a home seller, it's still a great time to be selling. Still a lot of activity, not at the pace, that frantic pace that we were earlier in the year, but we have those seasonal adjustments. And then jumping into the buyer's concerns, which are interest rates, Tom, let's give us some updates on that.
Fannie and Freddie are they're inching up a little bit. A lot of people still think the rates are in the high twos, and they're not. They're low threes, 3.25 to 3.375 with good credit. When I say good credit, in the mid 700s on your credit scores. I picked up 5 deals this week that need to close by the end of the month, because a lot of clients are getting quoted in the high threes and the low fours. Now, mind you, one of those deals was a cash out refi on an investment property. You're going to be higher with some of those. There's loan level price adjustments. And then there's also credit adjustments if your credit scores are low. So make sure you understand, if your rate's higher than in the lower threes, what you're looking at. Is it a 20% down conventional loan with good credit? Your rate should be in the low threes. So they're saying, and the projection is through the 2022 year, the rates are going to remain stable in the mid threes to maybe 3.75. So they're going to remain good. I mean, if you can find the inventory, and it is loosening up a little bit, rates are fantastic. It's a great time to buy.
Right. So you can see it on this chart too, that even last January, we were in the high threes. So people start giving the oh no to the rates being in the low threes. It's weird. You can see this downward slide. We just had a little bit of a blip. But as far as where we're going to be going next year, Tom, for anybody who's looking to buy in the long term.
Right. I mean, you're right. We're not in a school zone right now. We haven't slowed down that much, but we've definitely hopped off the Autobahn, and we're on the public roads right now. So the rate's 3.5. I would just project everything at 3.5 right now. Make sure your APR is close to your note rate, because that's a reflection of the costs that are being charged. Keep your eye out for discount points. A lot of lenders that have lower rates are charging discount points or broker fees, and that takes into consideration of your APR. So let's say your APR is like high threes and your rate is low threes. They're charging points for that. So just be aware.
Right. So that's a great point, Tom. We see all over the board. We prefer to work with you on getting our deals done with our clients, because we know that you have that great balance between low interest rates and reasonable closing costs. We see them all over the board.
Okay.
We see interest rates that are a lot higher with low closing costs, interest rates that are higher with lower, all over the board.
Lower with high closing costs, yes.
Lower with high closing costs, and then somewhere in between. Some of them we're just astounded when we look at what the clients agreed to. And so you really do have to watch, because those forms are so confusing when you're looking at them as a consumer. That point that your APR is really what you have to look for. It's
Right.
not what they quote you as your interest rate. It's that APR shows you the total cost. And if there's too much deviation from what they quoted you as your interest rate, something's not right.
Yeah.
So appreciate that. So I want to give a quick reminder to the folks that we were talking to last week and the week before in regards to forbearance. If you or anyone love, work with, etc., are coming out of the forbearance program and into having to restructure, refinance, or whatnot, make sure to give us a call. Tom had mentioned before that a lot of folks are actually refinancing out instead of restructuring from their current lender. So please give Tom a call if you want to talk about that. Tom's a great person. He'll tell you honestly if it's better to stay with your lender. He'll tell you to stay with your lender. If it's better to refinance out of that current position and give yourself a better position coming out of that forbearance program, he certainly will. But where it starts is actually with a professional equity assessment report. And that's where we would come in, Sarah, the local professional in Northern Kentucky, and then us on the Wyndham-Lyons team in Ohio as well. We can actually help you understand what your equity position, what your current value, what your equity position is in that property, which will help you make that decision on whether you restructure with your lender currently or if you would be better off refinancing that loan. And that would come over just on a nice clean report. What you would do is get a hold of us. Sarah, how would somebody get a hold of you, whether they want to buy, sell, or get one of these pair reports?
They can call or text me at 859-547-8735, or they can shoot me an email at setters, SETTERS, at wyndhamlyons.com.
Awesome. And then Tommy, if somebody wants to get a hold of you to purchase a new home, refinance, or get one of these assessments on where they should go with those forbearances.
Website is www.tmaclens, TMACLENDS, or call my cell or text me at 859-468-LOAN, 5626.
And if you would like to get a hold of us here at Wyndham-Lyons office in the northern side of the river, it is www.wyndhamlyons.com. You can also go directly to my website, which is www.theshowcaseteam.com. You can also get a hold of us at our office main line, 513-322-2905. You can get a hold of my direct line at 513-824-8536. Well, I think that about wraps it up for this week. We've bored everybody sufficiently with some more information. Hopefully it was helpful to everybody this week. And we're going into a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. So go out and buy some turkeys.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
You guys too. I appreciate it.
Thanks.